Okay, my friends, I got a good one for you today because in this video, I'm going to show you the method of the masters for growing tomatoes. Okay, now you can do it a number of ways. You can grow them in cages, yes. You can let them sprawl all over the ground, yes. Or you can do it this way. And I've done it all those different methods and they all produce, okay, but this method produces the best by far. The plants are healthier, the produce is more abundant, the plant is more resistant to pests and diseases, and you can fit a lot more in a tight space, okay? And there's more flavor because the plants know where to focus the energy, right into the fruits, the good stuff, okay? So let us go out and I'll show you exactly how it's done. And one side note, for this system, we must use indeterminate tomatoes only, okay? So this will not work for determinate tomatoes. It must be indeterminate tomatoes we're using here. Okay, in this project, we are going to make a trellis for 10 tomato plants. So we're going to make 2 rows of 5 plants. And so for those 2 rows of trellising, each row is going to need 2 8-foot T-posts and 1 10-foot section of 3/4 inch electrical conduit. So in total for this project to trellis 10 tomato plants, we're going to need 4 of the 8-foot T-posts and 2 10-foot sections of 3/4 inch conduit. Okay, now about a week and a half ago, I planted these tomato plants and I planted them with this trellising in mind. So I made 2 rows of 5, spacing them about 18 inches apart. So we want to pound our T-posts directly in line with all of the stalk, the base of these tomato plants. So directly in line, that's where the T-post is going to go and where the cross member is going to be fastened. Now comes time to pound in the T-posts that are perfectly in line with the base of the tomato plants. Now, most people want to put the T-posts at the very far outside ends of the support crossbeam, but that, if the tomatoes get big and heavy, which these will, then that will make it bow. So you'll get a lot more strength if you bring the T-posts in 1 tomato plant from the end, so that there is actually a tomato plant on the outside of each of the T-posts. And once we secure the cross member, that's going to give us a lot more support, and it's not going to bow this way. Okay, then take a clamp such as this one, or have somebody help you and hold the other end, and balance one end on top of the bar and clamp the other end. Then you want to take some of these zip ties and go to the end without the clamp and zip tie that one first. And once that one is tied in there, then go to the one with the clamp and zip tie that one. Now take a step back, make sure everything's level, pound in if you need to a little bit further, and then secure with rope or something similar, whatever you have. In my case, I did the zip ties, but then also I did a nice square lashing with some baling twine. But you could also, I guess, use duct tape or even a hose clamp or rope of any kind or mechanics wire. I'll leave that up to you to fasten it, but make sure it's secure. This is going to have a lot of weight on it. Okay, and now here we have our 2 sets of trellising pounded in and leveled out. And even though this setup, this garden required that this runs east and west, that's okay. Ideally, you'd run this setup north and south, but east and west is fine. I just staggered the tomato plants, so everything's going to be just fine. Okay, the next thing we want to do is tie our knot. Now, you want to acquire the right type of twine. This has to be some strong twine, okay? This can't just be little flimsy yarn. This is baling twine that I got from like a Tractor Supply store, and make sure it's nice and strong, and then tie this knot. Okay, I'm not even going to bother speaking about it. Just look at it visually and tie this knot. It's very simple. It's called the lasso knot, yet it's crucial to the functioning of this system. So tie the lasso knot. And once you have the lasso knot tied, you want to open it up nice and wide so that you can slip it over the entire tomato plant. Now make sure that you don't get hung up on any of the branches or anything. Slip it over the entire plant, because then we are going to very gingerly tighten the noose around the base of the plant. But make sure that it's pretty much touching the ground. No branches are below where the noose is being tightened. And now it's very important that we don't tighten it too much. We just tighten it just barely. I mean, it's not even really tight. That's why this knot just kind of stays loose at the bottom, okay? We do not want to tighten it too tight, just so that it's like this, kind of light and fluffy. Then we're going to simply wrap the twine around the main stalk of the tomato plant. Now, you'll quickly get a feel for this, but you just kind of very gingerly weave it through the branches and stuff. You make sure that there's no pinch points or anything like that, but you just kind of gently wind it up the stalk of the plant. And again, when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're not doing it too tight. You just very gently set it on there, okay? It does not have to be tight, but keep enough tension on it so that when you bring the rope up top, you can tie it off. Up top, wrap it around a number of times to give yourself some spare rope, just in case you need it for something. But you see how these strings are taut, but they're not tight. I didn't pull on the actual plant. I just wound it around the plant gently and then took the string all the way up to the top, wrapped it around a number of times, and then tied it off. Now here's something that is absolutely crucial to the success of this method. You must prune off the suckers. Do you see here, there's the main stalk, and then there's the branch with the leaves on it, and then coming out of that is the sucker. Now you have to prune all of these off, and that is going to keep the plant growing in a nice, long, strong stalk. Okay, see here we are maybe 4 or 5 days later after I planted them, and we come back, and I had missed one of these suckers, and you see how it's almost like growing into it. It split the tomato plant almost. So I can see though still which one is the sucker and which is the main stalk. The sucker is the one that comes out of the crotch area of the branch right there, and it looks like it's going to be a whole new tomato plant. Okay, the one on the left is the main stalk, and it's got the flowers on it already. The one on the right is the sucker. Now I am going to prune off this sucker, and you see there's the branch with the leaves, and then there is the sucker. Now I'm going, even though it's gone further than I wanted it to, I missed it. I'm going to go ahead and trim that one off now, and the plant will recover. It's no problem. But that is going to keep the plant growing into one long, strong vine that we can wrap around this twine. Because if we don't do this, then the plant is going to become a bush. It will become unruly, and it will become a bush, and this entire system will not work at all. So it requires a little bit more of this. Once every few days, come in and prune off the suckers. Once every 5 days to a week, come and prune off the suckers, and then simply, as the plant grows, wrap it around the string like this. It's very simple. This didn't really grow enough to wrap it around. You can let it grow a little bit more. Before you wrap it, I just wanted to show you. But you just wrap it, and it will go all the way up this twine. Okay, now here's a video from a couple of years ago when I first began this method, and I was astonished at the quality of produce that this method produces. Now, I've let them grow in cages before as well, where they just grow really wild and bushy, and that produces what seems like a lot, but these fruits are so much healthier. The plants are so much healthier, they're so much more resistant to diseases and to pests, and you just wrap them up the twine as the season goes along, prune off the suckers, and they go all the way up, and this was about 8 feet. They go all the way up, and then once they reach the top, you can just let them grow back downwards all the way to the ground. They're like 12, 15 feet long. And that's pretty much it, my friends. So if you feel like you gained something from the video, then give it a thumbs up. Share the video with anyone you think can benefit from this knowledge. And I just created a Garden Like a Viking Instagram account where I will be sharing daily tips and tricks and pictures and stuff, updates of experiments and things I don't want to make a whole video about. But so follow the Garden Like a Viking Instagram account.